Russell Westbrook is one of the greatest talents this game has ever seen. He is unquestionably the most athletic point guard the game has ever seen. He has 175 career triple-doubles. He is 6 shy of the all-time record by Oscar Robertson, who had 181 career triple-doubles in his career. Russell Westbrook is going into the Hall of Fame one day. By the way, I'm out here in California, Max, Molly, Kendrick Perkins, and I'm driving in Sherman Oaks, and I'm driving towards Burbank, wherever the hell it was, and there's Russell Westbrook car dealerships all down the avenue. He's a businessman. He's a model citizen. He's an incredible role model, family man. All of that stuff is fine. He's not one thing, and that's an NBA champion. Yes, he is a champion at life. He's not an NBA champion. Now we have to sit up there and analyze this. When Russell Westbrook says what he says, it's to be appreciated from the standpoint that if you have a franchise, you should want Russell Westbrook on your squad. Because Russell Westbrook does not cheat the game, and he is going to give it to you every night. All of those things are true. What Russell Westbrook is missing is that with greatness comes great responsibility, and that's being in pursuit of a championship, as opposed to saying, this is what I'm doing. The hell with the results. It is what it is, because I'm still a winner in life. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Nobody said anything about that. And when your career is over, we will celebrate your greatness. But we celebrate you even more if you were a champion. Now, you've been to 4 conference finals. You've been to an NBA finals when Kevin Durant and cats like that were your teammates. Once Kevin Durant departed, you went home in the first round 3 straight years. You go to Houston, you go home in the semifinals. You're in Washington, and when everybody was raving about the triple-doubles, you were 13 games under 500 at that time. Now you're in the play-in game. So now you're winning games more than losing, and y'all are making a run, you and Bradley Beal and the rest of the crew. And so now is the time to say, okay, all right, that's what we're talking about, Russ. But at times when he speaks, it's like no matter the outcome, he just wants us to look at his numbers. No, you're too great for that. We will not just look at your numbers because you're too great for that. You're too great to go home in the first round. You're too great to go home before the playoffs. Greatness like yours, the public is clamoring to see it when it counts. And there's nothing wrong with that. Greatness comes great responsibility. That's the responsibility you have as a professional athlete with his level of greatness until it's over. And I will never deviate from that thinking.
Stephen A., you're preaching the gospel right there. I don't want to debate that point so much as I want to explain something that I think about Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, I love what he said, because he gives you everything he's got all the time. It's the reason, like, really, when you boil it down, he's my favorite player to watch. He gives it – now, Sandy Koufax, who turned out to be the greatest starting pitcher ever, probably, in his prime, was wild when he was young in Brooklyn before the Dodgers moved to L.A. And he had a pitching coach tell him, like, take 5% off. Throwing 100 miles an hour. Take a little bit off. And when he did that and he got under control, that's when he reached the next level, like this, the greatest ever. And it's almost like someone needs to tell Westbrook that, to your point, Stephen A. But the thing is, sometimes that's fundamentally who someone is. Westbrook can't take 5% off. He wouldn't be Westbrook. The thing that makes him great is that he goes all out all the time. And so that's one. The second thing is, it's not his fault the league changed out from under him. Now, Stephen A., you could say, well, you got to adapt. I'm not going to argue that. He'd be even greater if he could. Because Westbrook's the one dude I've ever seen where literally play to play, I think one play, that's the best player I've ever seen. And the next play, oh, you can't win with Russell Westbrook, right? Like play to play, I think that sometimes. But the league changed out from under him. In almost any other era, he'd retire as a top 20 player ever, right? In almost any other era, he'd be putting up these great numbers, and I think he'd be winning more. But the game has become so much about shooting from the outside, and he's just not a very good outside shooter. If Russell Westbrook was a 40% shooter from 3, he might be the best player ever. It's just not, for whatever reason, I don't think it's not from practice or desire. He's just not a very good shooter from the outside. And so now we start hand-wringing and playing armchair psychologist and trying to figure him out. He just doesn't shoot it well enough. But I cannot knock what he says in public about that stuff, how hard he tries, and I think he is a winner. But I also can't debate with you, Stephen A. He has not won a championship. That is a fact, and he's been on a lot of great teams.
Well, I'm going to say this, all right? How do we view a guy like Chris Paul, right? We view Chris Paul as arguably a top 5 point guard to ever play the game, right? He's never won a championship, okay? And that's no knock on Chris Paul. And here's the problem that I have when it comes to winning championships in a team sport, okay? It's not an individual sport like boxing, tennis, or golf where championships define your whole legacy. Sometimes it's about where you are at the right place at the right time. And you may be doing your part, but you just don't have the personnel around you to get the job done. Now, I was in Oklahoma City when a young Russell Westbrook, a young Kevin Durant, a young James Harden went to the finals against a veteran ball club in the Miami Heat with the big three, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James, and had Mike Miller and James Jones and all those vets to come in, and they was already battle tested, right? These guys, Russell Westbrook and James Harden and KD, was just scratching the surface, okay? Then what happened? They go to a couple Western Conference Finals. James Harden leaves and go to Houston, gets traded to Houston. Russell Westbrook gets hurt 1 year. Kevin Durant gets hurt 1 year. Then all of a sudden they lose a 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals to the team that went on to win the championship in the Golden State Warriors, and KD bounces, okay? He leaves the organization left for dead. What do Russell Westbrook do? He keeps a team relevant.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.